Here we go. Now we've got it. Sorry, guys. It's a little more complicated than usual for this one. I am broadcasting to Facebook Live. At the same time, I'm broadcasting to YouTube Live. So it took me a little bit to set it up properly. We have audio now, right? I can see it registering. Yes, thank you. That's good. Good deal. So we got some, I'm going to go over some things today. As soon as I get finished, I'm posting it in a few more groups. No, there we got it in that one. So let's post it over here in this group. We got some interesting things that are happening with Final Cut Pro, of course, for 2019. I'm going to be asking you guys what you're doing, what you're expecting on Final Cut Pro for 2019. All right, that's that. Good. So I'm going to post this all the way over there. The main thing. Got sound now. I wonder how oh, there we go. I got it on the side. Good, good, good. I had the chat at the bottom, which was a little bit not the way I have my windows laid out. It wasn't very good. Audio's back. Hey, we have Rob Mills, and I'm not sure how to pronounce some of these names. I'm sorry. Lauren, he's around all the time. He's been in the chat. So I'm gonna continue posting this in a few more groups. I'm gonna go to the Creative Summit. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Let me go back there. And I'm going to go to, let me see, the Creative Summit, post it there. So how many of you guys went to the Creative Summit this year? I'm not sure. There was quite a few there. Here we are. There was quite a few at the Creative Summit. There were hundreds there, a couple hundred people, I think, 150, something like that. So if you're on Facebook and you don't want to watch it on Facebook, I'm posting a YouTube link where we're live. And also, if you're on YouTube and want to go to Facebook, go to Final Cut Pro Radio Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/Final Cut Pro Radio. I got a couple more groups I'm going to post it to, and then I'll be back talking about what we're going to be talking about today. Let me see, Facebook groups, there we go. With you in 1 minute yet. Here we go. Final Cut Pro. There we go. There we go. There. So I'm curious as to whether people watch more on Facebook or on YouTube. I mean, I like YouTube because it has a chat built right in right there. So I like YouTube myself. But when I do videos on my own Final Cut or my own Facebook page, I'm getting thousands of views. I posted one this morning and it gets thousands of views. So I'm just going to see if this is going to be more popular, doing it live on Facebook or YouTube. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt, to say the least. But I don't mind if it works for people, if they'd rather just do one or the other, or one's more convenient than the other. So I'm not going to be checking all the individual Facebook groups for comments. If you want to comment, go back to the main page on Final Cut Pro Radio, Facebook page. Couple more and I'll be done. Final Cut Pro editors. A couple more and I will be done. See, if I had an assistant, they could be doing this up ahead of time, setting this up ahead of time. So, but I don't. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about is Apple has pre-announced a new version of Final Cut Pro for the first half of 2019. Everybody knows that, correct? You've heard about that. They've pre-announced it, which is an unusual step. And the reason they pre-announced it, I think, for the most part, is because Kripa. Oh, that's how you pronounce your name. Thank you. Thank you. So there's a comment in the chat, Logic Pro 10 update soon? Absolutely. Logic Pro 10 typically updates right before NAMM. NAMM is coming up at the end of January. That's when it updated last year, and I expect the exact same thing this year. I don't know what's going to happen with Logic this year. Could be it'll be something major. It won't just be a bug fix this time, when it's close to NAMM. It's too much competition there. Right? Whoever uses Logic, I use it for all my complicated audio. I find it very, very effective for doing audio. Well, it should be. It's a digital audio workstation. That's what it is. So we have, let me just pull this up real quick. There's a pretty cool freebie I want to show you. Let me see, where is that? Here it is. I'm going to pull this up. I'm not going to put any sound in it because it doesn't need sound. Let me present it to you. Screen share. Oh, where is it? Oh, there it is. Start screen share. So this is a pretty cool little freebie. It's called Automatitles. It's a freebie from Premium VFX. You can get it on, what is that platform it's on? I forget. It's that major platform, FX Factory. It's a really nice little title pack that they have out, and it's free. You can see it here playing back. It's got some nice little titles. Sometimes title packs, I'm not really interested in them because they're a little cheesy or a little bit hokey, but this is a real nice one. So that's available on the FX Factory platform. Premium VFX Automatitles. Free. I really like that. So how many of you are waiting for, oh, you can be buying a new iMac? Okay, Eugene. That's what I'm going to call you. Those titles look good. There's a comment. It is a tough one. Thank you. So Eugene says, I deleted my Facebook account 2 years ago, and I have no problem with that. People that are not on Facebook, I sometimes envy you. If it wasn't for being able to have these groups of Final Cut Pro and stuff, I have multiple groups. I got Final Cut Pro Radio. See, we just lost the Facebook stream. Not sure. Oh, there it is. Is it back yet? I don't know. I don't really care. It's YouTube. I'm putting you on YouTube as well. So, oh, it's back live. See, the problem is it keeps going down, then it'll come back, and it's a little complicated. Anyway, so who's planning on buying any kind of hardware, Mac hardware, in 2019? So I bought a 2017 iMac a few years ago, last year, I guess it was, over a year ago. because I wanted to edit my GH5 footage. I shoot 10-bit, 4K 10-bit, 422 color space with my GH5 in my older iMac. I think it was a 2014 maybe. It didn't handle it very well. So I bought the 2017 iMac. It handles it fine. Single stream, of course. I'm not going to, if I'm doing multicam, I'm going to be doing proxy workflow. So it handles it fine. But in 2019, the one thing I don't like about the 2017 5K iMac is it only has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports. I need 3. I have an audio interface that's Thunderbolt 3 that has to plug in directly. That leaves me 1 port. Well, the 1 port has to work my USB hubs, and it also has to sometimes connect to my RAID. I have a Promise RAID and a G-Speed RAID. So I need 3 ports minimum, preferably 4 on a new machine. I'll probably get 4. So anyway, 2019, this is what we're going to see. This is my prediction. This is not official. We're going to see a new iMac, a 2019 iMac. We're going to see a new updated version of the iMac Pro, a 2019 iMac Pro. And of course, Apple has already pre-announced the Mac Pro, which is the biggest thing I'm waiting for. Marcelo says, will you wait to see what the new Mac Pro will be about? You betcha. Absolutely. I will hold off on this 2017 iMac until that Mac Pro comes out. I will not be getting an iMac or an iMac Pro because I think they can come out sooner. I don't think they have to wait. I don't think they have to wait for the Mac Pro. The Mac Pro can be separate. The iMac and the iMac Pro, they don't need an event to come out. Apple can update the iMac or the iMac Pro at any time with just a little news thing or just update it on their website. Now, the iMac Pro, who knows what they're going to do for that? New processor, perhaps? A new graphics card, perhaps? That's very possible. Don't know. But I am absolutely going to wait for the Mac Pro to see the form factor, the price point, the performance against the iMac. I like iMacs. I never bought the 2013 Mac Pro. I stuck with iMacs, and I really, really like them. So I'm waiting for the Mac Pro, but I'm certainly interested in what the iMac is going to be in 2019. Hopefully it has 4 Thunderbolt ports. And the iMac Pro, I wonder if they're going to improve that in any way. Don't know. So here's something else that's supposed to be happening in 2019. This is the Apple, what they said. In the first half of 2019, an updated version of Final Cut Pro will include a feature to help you identify and convert legacy media files. Okay, that is from Apple official. They've pre-announced that version. Now, so the new version of Final Cut Pro and High Sierra or Mojave are going to support the ability to identify and convert legacy media files. What happens when the new version of Mac OS comes out? Is Final Cut Pro still, is that version of Final Cut Pro still going to be able to identify and convert legacy media files? And the new version of Mac OS comes out probably in the fall. That will be interesting. That would be fantastic if it does do that. Some people are very concerned about the legacy media thing. It's not really going to affect me. I have several older machines that aren't going to be updated that I can always go back and convert files if I have to. But the question is, this is the question. Since this new version of Final Cut's coming and it's going to work in Mojave, it's going to identify and convert legacy media files. It doesn't seem like they will drop that feature with the new Mac OS when it comes out, does it? I mean, that would be doing a step backwards. So if I'm hoping that the new version of Final Cut that they're talking about here, coming out in the first half of 2019, does identify and convert legacy media files, even on the OS that comes out in the fall. So Rob Mills says, I think it will be one update with Legacy Media, and then the one after that will be the end. Just my guess. Well, I think there's going to be an app or a plugin that will be able to convert Legacy Media files even with the new Mac OS. It doesn't seem like that's that hard. I mean, Avid's going to work with the media files. Other apps that do things properly are going to work with the other media files. So it doesn't seem like it would be that difficult to keep supporting it. Let me just check back here real quick to see if we have any comments on the Final Cut Pro Radio site, just to check, double check. No comments yet. Good. All the comments. See, this is what I was wondering. All the comments are coming in on YouTube, which is what I prefer. I prefer them coming in on YouTube. This is a test. Okay, this is a test to see if it works. So we have more people watching on YouTube than we do in Final Cut in Facebook, which is very interesting. So something else that's happening in Final Cut Pro news coming up. Let me do this. LACPUG is hosting Apple at the next LACPUG meetup, Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019, beginning at 6:45 p.m. The Gallery Theater in Hollywood, California. I was there when Brad Olson did his Off the Tracks presentation last, I think it was June or July. Wednesday, January 23rd for the first meetup of 2019. But Apple is going to be presenting there. They're going to be presenting Final Cut Pro 10.4.4. So that's pretty cool. I've seen their presentation at the summit, and they might have something new at this point. Ask them about if the new version of Final Cut is going to work in the new Mac OS when it comes out next fall, and be able to identify and convert legacy media files. I might reach out to them, to some contacts I have, and see what they say, but I'm curious about that. So here's something else we have. One of my favorite presenters, let me get this up. One of my favorite presenters, every time I see him, he's just fantastic. Has a new video out. Michael Cioni. He has a new video out about explaining high dynamic range. He's great. He's a great presenter. He's very knowledgeable. He's very entertaining. He was so good at the Creative Summit last time. But he goes through high dynamic range, what it is, what it isn't, how it's going to work in the future. It's on Vimeo. I'll put links to this stuff in the YouTube chat and in Final Cut Pro Radio after the event. I can't do it now because it's just going to mess me up. This video is on Vimeo. The number is 307-537-065 for those who want to check it out. But I watched it. It's very, very good. So Rob Mills says, for the new version of Final Cut, I just want them to give me the ability to keyframe better and built-in tracker, agreed on the tracker. That would be fantastic. So Michael Cioni's presentation at NAB on 8K was great. It certainly was. It was very, very entertaining. It was very entertaining. And it was very informative as well. So he says 8K is coming no matter what. If you don't like it, it's too bad. It's coming regardless. He said he wasn't there live. He just watched the video from LumaForge. LumaForge has all their videos on their YouTube channel, youtube.com/C, the letter C, /LumaForge. Marcelo says, there was a nice extra footage of Michael Cioni and Off the Tracks special edition. There most certainly was. It was one of my favorite parts. I really like him. What else do we have? Okay, so I have an announcement that I'm going to do towards the end on a future. Actually, it's tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a YouTube Live, maybe Facebook Live, see how it goes, event tomorrow. And we have some special guests tomorrow, which I'll announce in a little bit. So everybody is using is transcribing their footage now. Everybody's transcribing it. So there's 3 transcribing apps that are out there that I know of that are popular with Final Cut Pro. SpeedScriber, which I have not tried. Actually, there's 4. SpeedScriber, I have not tried. Lumberjack Systems has its own transcription service now. I also have not tried that yet, but I will. Simon Says. Now, Simon Says, I have tried. I haven't tried it since they've got the plugin in Final Cut Pro, and I'm waiting until you can get a subscription inside of iTunes, pay for a subscription inside of iTunes before I go back to that. But Simon Says it's really cool. It's very cool. The fact that they have a plugin where you can work with transcriptions right inside of Final Cut is a major advantage. I mean, these plugins that they have now, extensions they call them, that's going to open up the world of possibilities for Final Cut Pro for things perhaps that it doesn't have. So that one is coming. Simon Says is already in Final Cut. You can go to simonsays.ai, I think is the website. You can buy subscription minutes there. They have different plans, but I'm waiting until you can buy the subscription inside of iTunes where the app is itself. And then there's a 4th one from CoreMelt called Scribe-O-Matic, which I've been using fairly regularly right now. Our good friend Roger Bolton from CoreMelt, he has Scribe-O-Matic. And I think that's at scribe-o-matic.com. It's in beta still, but it certainly is very usable. Now, here's the thing about all 4 of these apps. You have to pay for the transcription. And they all do it different ways. And there's a difference in price if you're price conscious versus accuracy. Even Scribe-O-Matic has 2 different levels. It has the more accurate, and it has the step down, perhaps more accurate and step down. It's one's a little more expensive than the other. So a lot of people think you can do transcriptions without, you have to get a transcription somewhere. And usually you pay for them. All 4 of these apps, you have to pay for the minutes that you use. So Marcelo says, Simon Says also has a 15-minute trial for anyone wanting to give it a go. That's absolutely correct. And Scribe-O-Matic from CoreMelt will give you 100 points when you sign up. So they also have a trial. Now, Scribe-O-Matic, the app itself is free. You just pay for the minutes. And I think it's the same with Simon Says. I think you can download the app in the App Store, and the app itself is free. And how they make money is you pay for the transcription minutes as you need them. So let me see what else we got here. What else is going on? I'm going to check. Okay, there we go there. Let me just go back here one time. So I don't think many of you are on the East Coast of the United States. I doubt if you are. But we had our first snow of 2019. and I took my drone out during a snowstorm. Now you can see this. I put this video up this morning, mostly for the local groups that I have. It's already got 2,900 views just 6 hours ago. That's why I was wondering about Facebook versus YouTube. I get thousands and thousands of views for some of this. Anyway, this is my neighborhood. It's my backyard, actually. This is literally my backyard. And here we are back again. So that is this nice little snowfall we had. It's the first one of 2019. I really like the snow myself. I'm not sure from what part of the world you guys, whether you like it or not, but I do. I like the snow. Probably left over from when I was a kid and you got off school and you could just sled ride all day. You don't have to worry about going to school for the day. But I also like the snow. So what else do we have here? Let's see. So here's what I'm going to announce for tomorrow. Oh, let me do one more thing first. I'm going to make one more announcement. So Rob Mills says, I think live YouTube wins due to people like me using Apple TV to watch the show. Wow, that's a good point. I mean, I like I said, I prefer YouTube myself. Absolutely prefer it. One more thing, my friend Serena Catania, let me get this on here right here. I'm going to present this. She was honored, or she was mentioned by Zeiss Camera Lenses for some of her shots that she does. It says there's always a story behind a photo. Zeiss contributor Serena shoots in this series beautiful still photos. She says, thank you, Zeiss, for all your hard work over many years perfecting the science of glass. You make our stories come true. And Zeiss says, thank you as well, Serena. Give a shout out to Serena if you get a chance. I talked to her last week. She's actually on the East Coast right now. So, one more thing I want to just point out that I didn't. Then I'll tell you the news for tomorrow. And that is, let me see where that is. That is that I have 2 podcasts that I do. Final Cut Pro Radio is my biggest one. And I have another one called Roots Rock Radio that I've been doing since 6 months after podcasts were started. And we reached 1,058,000 downloads at the beginning of January. 1,058,000 downloads. That's a lot of downloads. I've been doing it for a long time, but I'm proud of that. Now, here's something else I wanted to bring up while I'm down there. Frame.io Ripple Training has a complete training on Frame.io. If you subscribe to Frame.io, Ripple has a complete, free 14-part complete training by Ripple Training. So go to the YouTube channel or go to their main page. Let's see what we got coming up here. Oh, got a little ad, of course. Skip ad. So there's all their Frame.io workflows. Lots and lots of information there. Look at all these. Now I worked with Frame.io when once again, that's Ripple Training on their YouTube channel. I worked with Frame.io when I did work with Brad Olson doing the Off the Tracks documentary, going back and forth. But I haven't worked with them recently, so I know they've made a lot of changes. So I'll be interested how that works. Rob Mill says the trainings look good, even though I haven't used Frame.io for a long while. I haven't used it for about a year. So here's the announcement. People have been talking about using Final Cut Pro on an iPad. I see that requested all the time. What do you guys think about that? I see that request, Final Cut Pro on the iPad, Final Cut Pro on the iPad. So one of the common responses is, well, that's called iMovie, right? But, well, you know what I forgot to do? That's called iMovie. I've heard that multiple times from people. That's called iMovie. But it's not the same. I mean, iMovie is very, very limited, right? But there is an app on the iPad that's very, very sophisticated. For editing video. I mean, I'm amazed at some of the things it can do. I know you guys know the name of it because I've heard people do it. Use it. So Drew Media Australia says it's the future. Well, doesn't it seem like Final Cut Pro, some of the graphic elements seem like you should touch them? It always has for me. It always seems like it's almost like a touch interface. So Marcelo says, could be really interesting if we can solve how to transfer media to it in a fast way. Of course, that's a problem. Rob says it confuses me because my projects are about 20 terabyte minimum. So how would that work? Good question. Good question. So the iPad Pro has a USB-C port, doesn't it? I think it does. I wonder if that can be activated to hook up to a hard drive that contains your media. I wonder. Maybe at some point. But there is an app out there that works with very, very effectively with video editing on the iPad right now. It's from LumaTouch, and the app is called LumaFusion. So they have very sophisticated app. I was amazed. I bought it on Steve Martin's from Ripple Training, his suggestion a while ago. LumaFusion Professional Video Editing. It's available on the App Store right now. Look at this screenshot over here. Look at this thing. This is on an iPad. It even works on an iPhone. I'm sure it's not as sophisticated, but I mean it's limited. But the iPad, if you got an iPad Pro, look at all these features. So let me see. LumaFusion is produced by the original creators of the award-winning Pinnacle Studio app. Key features: editing, 3 video audio tracks for photos, videos, titles, graphics, 3 additional audio tracks for narration, music, and sound effects. This is on an iPad. Insert and override editing. You can read it. It's luma-touch.com. But it's very, very sophisticated. A titler, project management, audio, live audio track mixer. Listen to your mix while adjusting levels. That's something that Final Cut Pro doesn't even have. Audio ducking. How many times have I seen a request for audio ducking in Final Cut Pro? It has effects, all kinds of stuff. Share, slow and fast motion. This is on an iPad. You know, look at this thing. It's an incredible application. Like I said, I bought it, I think last year, maybe at NAB when Steve Martin was talking about it. But anyway, we're going to have Chris and Terry from LumaTouch on Final Cut Pro Radio TV Live tomorrow afternoon at 3:15. So they're going to be on tomorrow, and we're going to talk with them. You can come on and ask questions. You can make comments, and we'll find out exactly how it works, including the issue of storage. I don't know. I'm sure it's a proxy workflow of some sort. I think there's maybe some kind of wireless hard drive that's involved with accessing media. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but they'll be on tomorrow to talk about this version, the newest version, the latest version. Chris and Terry from LumaTouch. We're going to be talking tomorrow, 3:15 p.m. right here, Final Cut Pro Radio TV. That's going to be fantastic. And it's $20 in the App Store. It's fantastic. Drew Media Australia says they need to beef up audio in Final Cut Pro. They most certainly do. They certainly do. They did a great job a few years ago, 10.3, I guess it was, when they introduced some nice features of audio, but it's not going to stop there, I'm sure. They need some kind of other ways of working with audio. That's why I work with Logic so much with audio, anything sophisticated. So Rob Mills says, I've seen a demo of it, and it was a Final Cut Pro editor, and said it's very similar. So I guess the question that I have is, you edit something. I mean, this is great for media people, news people. They have to edit quickly on the go. They take their iPad, they do their edit. There's cuts only edit, some basic titling, whatever they're doing, audio voiceovers, and then they can upload it to their servers for the TV station or whatever. But what I want to know is if it can export it Final Cut Pro XML and how that's going to work. I'm sure if it's not there yet that it's going to be coming. But we will talk to them tomorrow, Chris and Terry from LumaTouch, talking about LumaFusion, sorry, not LumaForge. That's my sponsor, LumaForge. Talking about LumaTouch, LumaFusion on Final Cut Pro Radio TV Live tomorrow, right here, about 3:15. We're going to go live with those two. You'll be able to ask them questions about it. I'm not sure how much we can demo on YouTube, but so Stoke Dog says they demoed it at LACPUG using a Wi-Fi connected hard drive. That's what I thought. I think a couple of hard drives and LumaFusion, they have some kind of a connection where you can just access the media. And he says it can export an FCP XML. There you go. So it's, you know what? It's much more sophisticated than iMovie. iMovie is great as a starter app. It's free. This is so much more sophisticated. LumaFusion is so much more sophisticated. So I think that's about it for today. We'll come back tomorrow. If you have any questions, don't forget to support people who support Final Cut Pro. Premium VFX Automa titles free. You can get it from FX Factory. They have some really cool, sophisticated titles for free. I really enjoyed them. Like I said, when I see a new title, I like titles. I'm a big fan of buying title packs. plugins and stuff. So when I see titles, the first thing I just want to check them out and see if they're nice. I don't like real fancy swirly kind. I like good, sophisticated, simpler titles myself. So that's available on premium. It's premium VFX Automa titles, free. Bill Davis joined the chat, but I'm not going to say what he's talking about. I will, Bill. Glad to see you're here. Yeah, we'll talk about Final Cut Pro, of course. That's what we're going to be talking about. But I want to see, I have some questions for them and see exactly how it works. We might be able to get a demo of some sort, depending on whether they can demo it or not. And also in the future, I'm going to probably have on some of these transcription app people. We'll see if we can get Roger Bolton from Scribe-O-Matic, Cormeld. I'm sure he'll be coming on to see if we can get Mike Matzdorf from Simon Says to come on. Philip Hodgetts, Lumberjack Systems, and I'm not sure who does SpeedScriber, but that seems to be a very popular one. And we'll get them on to explain how each one, the two that I've used, Simon Says and Scribe-O-Matic, they're a little different, of course. They're just different ways of doing things. And I've used both, and I like both. Scribe-O-Matic is what I'm using right now. I've been using it for a while. Roger's been very, very helpful with that, implementing features and stuff. And Simon Says has as well. I'm just waiting for Simon Says to get their subscription available in the App Store so I can do it all in one place instead of having to going to the website. I know they're working on it. And once again, Michael Horton's LACPUG, Apple is presenting there Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific. I had a good time when I was there in June with Brad Olson and got to meet everybody and finally go to one of those. Yes, 12:15 Pacific time tomorrow. Absolutely. Stop in. Talk to Chris and Terry from LumaTouch, LumaFusion tomorrow. It's just going to be the three of us chatting about LumaFusion. And of course, I've had it for, like I said, probably NAB last year, Steve Martin's recommendation. But I want to see how it's going to incorporate with Final Cut Pro. And the other big thing is the media thing. So I'm sure it uses proxies, I would presume, and then you link them back up somehow. But it's a very sophisticated app. It's like iMovie on multiple shots of steroids. Any other questions for today? I'm going to take a sip of coffee, but I'm going to mute my microphone. There we go. So let's see. I'm going to just go check back on the Facebook page. So the problem with the Facebook page, not the problem, but the problem with the Facebook page is I put it on my main Facebook page, and a lot of my friends are coming on, and they are watching this, and they don't know what the heck I'm talking about, probably. Maybe. But I think I'm just going to, at this point, going to stick with YouTube mainly. All right, I think we're good. Do you guys have any other questions about Final Cut? I'm really interested in finding out if the new version of Final Cut that's coming out the first half of this year is going to continue to import and transcode legacy media after the Mac OS updates in the fall. That would be gigantic if it did. Also, last one of these we had Michael Kamas on, and we talked about his review of the eGPU from Blackmagic Pro that he had to take down. Well, it's back up again. You can find that. I'm sure you know about that. He tested it on Premiere, and he tested it on Final Cut Pro, and he tested it on Resolve, and he tested it on some other things. So the other thing is, look, I'm interested in Resolve myself. So I bought the Resolve, the Blackmagic book on Amazon. It was like the Kindle version. It's like $5. I think the hardcover version, I'm not sure what that is, but I got the Kindle version, and I'll be going through that. Now, here's the problem. It's for version 15. Well, what do you think is going to happen at NAB this year? Very likely there's going to be version 16. So whatever that's going to happen. But, of course, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K camera, they still haven't caught up to demand on that. That was premiered or previewed last NAB. They started shipping in September, October, and then they've been dribbling out, and they still haven't caught up to demand. So maybe they'll catch up with demand by then. Maybe they'll have an updated version at NAB. Who the heck knows? NAB is completely wide open. Speaking of NAB, you get a chance, stop over at LumaForge's YouTube page. I think Patrick put up a new video on how to use the Jellyfish with Final Cut Pro and Premiere, I believe. And of course, the big news when we had Sam Messman on in December is the Jellyfish and is now being sold on the Apple Business Store. That's gigantic. That's gigantic. I mean, Red has that one camera package on that same side. It's expensive, but the Jellyfish itself is now available on the Apple Store, it's an incredible accomplishment. So that's really cool. All right, any more questions? I think I'll go finish up here. So tomorrow, tune in tomorrow, LumaFusion. We are going to have Chris and Terry from LumaFusion talking all about it. Any questions you have, comments you have care to make, they will be there. Drew Media Australia, thank you for tuning in. It's early in the morning in Australia, I think, right? Rob Mills, thank you for tuning in. Marcelo, all my friends, Bill Davis. Is it Stoke Dog or Stop E-Dog? I'm not sure who that is. So that's cool. All right, I think I'm going to get off here. This is good enough for today. I think. I will talk to you tomorrow, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, 12:15 p.m. Pacific. Chris and Terry from LumaFusion, LumaTouch on Final Cut Pro Radio TV live tomorrow. I'll see you then.